Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I move to strike the last word. You know, reading through this package, I was struck by how un-American it is. As un-American as arresting judges, trampling on our due process, deporting Americans, and terminating our federal workers. It is antithetical to the values of this country. We are essentially voting on a package that supports selling off citizenship to sometimes the least worthy while deporting babies with cancer, on top of cutting Medicaid, cutting Medicare, cutting Social Security, cutting access to baby formula, cutting food assistance for kids. And then there is this fertilizer bill, which I like to say, which will also support terminating federal workers, which includes Capitol Police. I can't tell you how many Capitol Police have come up to me and asked me how their job is at stake and what's going to happen to them. And I say, well, don't go ask a Republican, because they are throwing you to the wolves. You know, reading through this package, I think of Horatio Algiers, an American author who wrote about rags to riches stories, those from humble beginnings who made it here because of the opportunity in this country. And that is the basis of immigration. You come here, you do not have to have money, you do not have to have a name, you do not have to have influence, but you have to have drive and grit and ideas and a diversity of thought. That becomes the currency that makes this country strong, that makes us unique. And what are we doing here with this package instead? We are saying that we don't value that kind of person anymore. We don't value diversity or strength. We don't value grit. All we care about is your check. But I'm here to tell you that is not what makes a workforce strong. That is not what makes industry strong, schools strong, this country strong. That is not a value system based on real merit. And instead of supporting innovators, earnest people with drive and ideas, like those immigrants that came here before us and helped make this country great, you are essentially saying that you're going to pay off citizenship to somebody who has the money to do so. They don't have to have any talent. They don't have to have any drive. They just have to have some kind of money in the bank. They don't have to be worthy. And to add some more duplicity to this fertilizer that we're going to be voting on today, Republicans talk so much about regulation, too much regulation. We need to deregulate the economy, the environment, our financial services, because so much regulation means less progress, less creativity, according to Republicans. But this here bill is about hyper-regulation, over-regulation. You're over-regulating how many people come here, who comes here, what they have to look like, how you kick them out, and not just undocumented folks, but Americans. Hey now, because we're seeing that happen. So I guess you have to raise enough nickels, since he's getting rid of the pennies, to pay for the tax cuts that you are getting to the richest of the rich, on top of cutting Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, things that people in my district care deeply about. And let me remind you that California has 7 of the 10 highest enrollee districts in this country when it comes to Medicaid. And another thing, I know Republicans, I talk to Republicans, I have Republicans in my district. And real talk, there are many Republicans who have fallen in love with immigrants, who have married immigrants, who have hired and mentored and worked with immigrants. And not all of those folks, not all of those immigrants were wealthy or came here with a big old dowry. But they came here with some drive, and they had ideas, and they had earnestness. Had enough for you to want to work with them, hire them, have ideas and dream ideas with them, fall in love with them, care about them. And how many of those folks would be allowed in this country today if this thing were in place? So let's just have some real talk when we are talking about voting on something that is un-American and antithetical to all of the values that we uphold, values that you would be upholding if the president were a Democrat instead of the one we have in office right now. So for these reasons and so many others, I will be opposing this bill. I yield back.